I have a sophomore.
We're live, all right. And it sounds like Ted's son has some lunch plans. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It's 12:05, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the July 2020 LNAA meeting. We'll get started here with our Pledge of Allegiance. So let's put the flag up for everyone. So find a flag, everybody. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the United States Republic, which it stands, under God, one nation, under justice for all. Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're gonna have to record that for posterity. But we'll miss that when it's gone. Thank you, everybody. Sylvette, will you please take the roll?
Sure. Brian James. Chuck Dyke. Mike Dowd.
Here.
Frank Falciana.
Here.
Glenn Geisinger.
Present.
John Hayes.
Here.
Ron Heckman.
Here.
Larry
Here.
Hamburger.
Here.
Jeff Matskin.
Here.
Glenn Reedman.
Present.
Tom Rosenberger. Mike Stershik.
Here. Pat is here. Oh, that's Glenn.
Matt Turk.
Here.
Chris Worley.
Here.
And Charles Rensky. Here. Here we have a quorum.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Ted Rosenberger is in the meeting now, and that was not my kid.
He's welcome to join us. He can watch it on YouTube if he likes.
It wasn't me. My kid's 10 and doesn't make those noises anymore.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Sylvette, has anybody submitted any public comment?
We do not have any public comment today.
Thank you. Moving on to the next item on our agenda, the approval of the June 30, 2020 meeting minutes. Take a motion to approve those minutes. Glenn, thank you. A second from John Hayes. All in favor of approving the minutes of June 30, 2020, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Thank you, everybody. We have reports from Thursday's meetings of committees. Again, I'd encourage you to, if you really want to get into the weeds and get some great additional information, please do attend those committee meetings. We had excellent report on our marketing initiatives during the business committee meeting that we won't go into great detail on here, but we'll get started with our treasurer's report. John, please deliver that.
Yep, Todd's going to take care of the report. Thank you.
We need to make sure we've got Todd on camera. You're only going to get the report. Todd has, for the pleasure of the audience, Todd's suit is impeccable.
and thank you. And socks.
They can
And
see,
sorry.
they can see him on Zoom.
So this is just a recap of what we went over, kind of our year-to-date financials. You can look at the net income where we're at roughly $419,000 through June negative. That's a slight decrease from last month. Again, the same that we've been talking about pretty much during the pandemic. Revenue's down. We're doing a fantastic job of kind of managing our expenses. But again, we can't keep up with the revenue loss. But we're doing kind of a Herculean job of just managing our expenses. And in the month of June, we did get our first CARES Act money of about $542,000. That's reflected in the numbers.
What's the low, Todd, on that? About 6.2, you said, if I remember correctly?
I'm sorry?
CARES Act money, about 6.2 million remaining?
We got a total of about 7.2 counting some in payroll support total. So
we're still under
6.7 because we got the extra million and change on top of the 6.2.
Hopefully they'll get around to writing the check at some point. Are they waiting on us for anything, or is this purely stuck in?
We're going to go into a little bit of the detail when we go into the exec session with some of the finance, but you know, our plan is to use some of it this year and obviously some of it next year. So next slide, please, Yvette. this is just kind of a recap of what I was saying. You kind of get a feel for year-to-date budget variances, what we've done as far as managing expenses. Personnel, obviously, a great job. Included in that personnel is the increased cost for unemployment. I think I mentioned in the committee meetings, we had $140,000 that we paid out in the second quarter. And all of last year, we paid $32,000. So that's reflected in there. Also, even when you talk about managing expenses, we've actually increased our bad debt number. I think we got $170,000 in there now as reserve year-to-date for bad debt. We haven't had that much write-offs, but we're anticipating them at some point. So that's reflected in the numbers. But again, you can see all the way down to A, 1 to 8, 3.5 million roughly. Budget impact savings where we saved in counting the CARES Act, but then the revenue is just, we're just chasing it at this point. But again, you see what the difference is and where we are year to date. And we'll go into more detail in the executive session, but that kind of gives you a feel where we are year to date. We've done, like I said, about as good of a job as we can do as managing expenses. We're just trying to hang in there until revenue picks up. I mean, part of it for us is the fact that we can't close. And there's a lot of things that we have to do just to make sure that we're operational, and that's the challenge. So, but we'll go in a little bit more detail later. Anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you.
John, do you have anything additional? Okay. I would take a motion to accept the June 2020 Treasurer's Report. Second from Tara, thank you. All in favor of accepting the June 2020 Treasurer's Report, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the Treasurer's Report is accepted. Mike, will you take us through the Business Committee? We have a couple of items on here.
Glad to, and certainly in the goal of continuing to help you set a record for the meeting today, we'll discuss these things rather briefly. Darren's in a position to discuss both of them for us. They both were discussed in committee and forwarded to the board. But the first is an item that we've been discussing for quite a while, the award of the final extension to World Fuel Services. And the recommendation is that we move forward, but I'll defer to Darren to give us a quick outline of the plan.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks, Mike. Yeah, so we did go through this in great detail in the committee. Recommendation from staff, and then subsequently by the committee, was to approve the final 5-year extension to the fuel agreement with World Fuel Services. They're going to make about another $800,000 in investments as part of this in our fuel farm and some ground service equipment. So ultimately, I mean, this has been a great relationship to date. There will be a time to go out to RFP, but today's probably not the time with the pandemic and current circumstances. So I will happily answer any questions.
Now, I think one of the things that came out of the committee meeting was this is a testament, I think, from World Fuel, just what they project this airport will, these airports as a system will continue to do over the next 5 years too.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, honestly, what they've offered us hasn't changed, right, even though our volumes are down.
Even though volumes are down
Significantly from where they were a few months ago. So
I think it's a great.
It also indicates that World Fuel has a great deal of confidence in our staff.
Yes.
And believes that they're good people with whom they want to continue to work. Looks like we also had it vetted by our solicitor, and the judge has indicated that we are in solid ground to move forward with this.
Thank you, Mike. Take a motion to award the final extension to the World Fuel Services Agreement.
So moved. Second.
Jeff, second from Mike Stershik. Any additional discussion or questions? Don't hear any? Okay, all in favor of awarding the final extension to the World Fuel Services Agreement, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, the
and Tom's actually
extension is awarded. Thank you, Darren.
Thank you.
Tom's checking in with us virtually. He's joining the other side.
I wanted to see how the other side lives here.
Hey,
On the dark side?
we miss you here. We had a PennDOT agility agreement, which is pretty straightforward, but you want to walk us through it?
Yeah, Darren, would you please? By the way, I would say Darren is impeccably dressed as well.
I can't keep up with Todd today, sorry.
Yeah.
And Tom's gonna handle this, Mike.
Okay, so Tom, be our guest.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. So again, this ended up being a late add to our committee agenda. So it was not in Novus at the time, but we did add it here for Novus for your review. Again, this goes back to 2015, where the airport entered into an agility agreement, essentially an exchange of services. There's no dollars that exchange hands. Effectively, what this gets us is all of the salt brining in the wintertime for our terminal roadways system. And in exchange, PennDOT gets to wash their vehicles in our maintenance wash bays, which are designed with oil water separators to handle that activity. So it's been working out very well. And PennDOT, we did speak with them. They're excited about continuing it. So we're looking in the original agreement, we had one extension of an additional 3 years. So we're looking to exercise that agreement. And we would recommend, again, that we do the extension term for an additional 3 years with the agility agreement.
Thanks, Tom, and I'll also say that we discussed this at some length in the committee and without hesitation recommend it to the board.
Thank you. Is 3 years the maximum extension term?
It is just one 3-year extension term, so we will need to go back to PennDOT for a new agreement as we're getting close to that 3-year extension.
Gotcha.
2003, we'll be talking about it again.
So say that again, Mike. We didn't hear you.
I think we'd be looking at, this would take us to 2023 and then extend 3 years subsequent to that, and Tom would have to negotiate that with PennDOT again.
Okay. I'd take a motion to approve the extension to the PennDOT agility agreement. Thank you, John. Second from Tara. Any additional discussion required of this agility agreement extension? Sounds like none. All in favor of approving the extension to the 2015 PennDOT agility agreement, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the extension is approved. Thank you, Mike, on the update for the business committee. That'll move us into a director's report. Tom already gave a sneak preview of not being here with us, but now we'll let him make his grand entrance with the director's report.
Great, thanks for the glowing introduction. Sorry I'm not as impeccably dressed as everyone else. So thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, just a certain portion of the report again, as we've been accomplishing previously, will be in public session, and we will provide some additional information in executive session. But the traffic report for June was distributed. Traffic for ABE, passenger traffic, was down 70.85%, although the traffic volume did double from what we saw in May. So just about 26,000 passengers through the airport. Cargo was up about 5.4%. Interestingly, the actual inbound, or the deplaned cargo, was up 18% overall. So a lot of cargo moving into the region. And then in terms of what we've accomplished since the meeting we had previously on June 30th, we did appear before Northampton County Council, essentially to request $250,000 in COVID block grant funding, and that was approved. We anticipate hearing more about getting some funding, the $250,000 next month. On July 14th, we met with PennDOT Bureau of Aviation. Ryan Meyer, myself, did have a virtual meeting with PennDOT to review our upcoming capital programs. We discussed a number of initiatives, including some of the discussion we've had related to our hangar construction, maybe a phased approach to that. So they were receptive to some phased approach to hangar construction. Also on July 14th, we did have a blood drive with Miller Keystone Blood Center, and we had 11 donors participate there. So again, every donor helps approximately 3 people, so 33 beneficiaries from that donation. So thank you for that. And then yesterday, July 27th, we had, I think, a great press conference. In spite of the warm weather and masks, we had a lot of attendance for the ribbon cutting for Hangar 11. Certainly appreciate everybody participating. I think we had a great turnout, beautiful facility, and we're excited to get there and to work on getting that filled. So At this point, that basically concludes the public portion of my report, so I'm happy to answer any questions about that.
Thank you, Tom. And I think that we should definitely extend our appreciation to Northampton County for the support of the authority through the CARES funding. And I assume that the team is working closely with Lehigh County to deliver similar support.
That's correct. We are having conversations with Lehigh County to see if there would be the availability of a match to that grant.
That's great news. And I'd point out, both county executives joined us yesterday and did an admirable job holding up the ribbon together with the rest of us while we got it cut. And I too am looking forward to Darren filling that actually like strikingly beautiful building. It looks great from the inside. And
It'll look better full of air.
yeah.
Yes, it will.
Thank you, Tom. Any other questions for Tom? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Judge, can you deliver a solicitor's report for us, please?
Thank you. It's been a quiet couple of weeks. I have nothing specific to add at this point.
Excellent. Thank you. It's quiet is good sometimes. Okay, and move on to ask for any new business. Hearing none, I will then ask for, I believe we have some information that will be provided during informational nature during the executive session. So I'd ask for a motion to move into executive session. Many movements to do so. I'll take John's. And a second, please. Second from Tara, thank you. Colin, you give the high sign when we're good to go.
Is there a vote coming out of this or no, right?
I don't expect so. Judge, there's no vote coming out of, we're not anticipating a vote coming out of the information to be delivered in this session, so we should be
Yes,
able
I
to.
understand this is purely an information, and there'll be no deliberation, discussion, or vote. Therefore, it's an appropriate executive session.
Thank you, sir.
So we'll end the stream.
Yep. All right, we are in executive session.